Episode 2 of the Dragon Ball Super English Dub. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to review the actual content of the episode, more so give you an analysis of the dub. I've already reviewed the episode back when it first aired in Japan in July of 2015, but I want to give you guys some thoughts. Now, I'm not going to be doing a review for every Dragon Ball Super English Dub episode. I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to be reviewing the key ones that I know you guys are probably curious about. The reason why I wanted to cover episode 2 is because it was really the first time that we had seen, you know, the characters of Vegeta, Bulma, and Trunks kind of take the forefront here and really see the performances by Chris Sabat, by Alexis Tipton, and of course by Monica Rial as Bulma. And not to mention we do get a little bit more from Ian Sinclair and from Jason Douglas as Beerus and Whis, because the second half of the episode pretty much is about them. And next week on Dragon Ball Super Episode 3, almost the entire episode is about them. It's Ian and you know, Jason doing Beerus and Whis. And this time was different than last week, because what I did this time, guys, starting at around the halfway point, is I had Dragon Ball Super playing the dub on my tablet, and then I had on my PC the Crunchyroll subtitle version so I can compare the two for the second half of the episode. Now, those of you, again, who have been looking for a stream for this show, unless you have a cable provider, there is a legal stream on AdultSwim.com. You can watch it, but you have to have a cable provider. So those of you outside the United States who don't have a cable provider, you can't watch Super Dubbed yet legally. Now, there are websites, of course, that have it, but we don't encourage piracy here because I have friends at Funimation, I have friends at Crunchyroll. So please do not leave any links in the description or in the comments linking people to pirated websites. They're going to get filtered out. I'm letting you know that we just don't encourage it. And I'm sorry, like I really am, that the dub isn't available internationally yet. But I assure you that it will be. You just have to understand that licensing and contracts make it so that it's only available, you know, here or for licensed countries. So, but I'm sure at some point it will be available on Funimation now. Just be patient. So overall, the dub is improving tremendously. I was really hoping to see how they would do the squid scene, and I thought that it was very well done. The one thing I noticed about this episode is how accurate the script is. Now, because of the history of the English dub of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, there were some dubisms that are just never going to go away. Now, if you're a fan of the Japanese version of Dragon Ball and you're a purist, you know obviously that Saiyan is Saiyajin, and most of the community, like the Kanzenshu and like Mr. Fusion, the ones that are purists, prefer to use the word Saiyan, which is the accurate way to pronounce it. I've talked about it maybe a million times on this channel, but some new people are around. Saiyan is the English dub way that they pronounce it. That's not going anywhere. So if you're one of those Japanese purists who wants them to change Saiyan to Saiyan, Saiyan to Saiyan, it's not happening. The Kaioken was changed in Kai, and I do think it's going to be changed here. But the words King Kai, obviously his Japanese name is Kaio-sama, that's not going anywhere either. I don't really have that much of a problem with the word King Kai describing Kaio-sama. And for those wondering, Kaio-sama stands for the Lord of Worlds. That's what Lord of the Grand Worlds is what it translates to. But that's too long. King Kai is fine for me. Herms hates it. Herms does not like King Kai. I'm cool with it. Also, when they're referring to the Guardian of Earth, that's also a dubism from the original censored dub. You couldn't say the word God. So for Kami, who literally translates to God, they call him the Guardian. Again, these are things that are just not going to go away, and they coincide with Kai. But what was interesting is that there was one dub change I found a little weird, which is when Whis refers to this pop star as coming in, and they changed the word neighborhood to solar system. I'm not really sure why. Not a major problem. They also were using Lord Beerus the Destroyer more than God of Destruction Beerus. Again, nothing too major. I'm just giving you guys the report. Also, surprising to a lot of people, Super Saiyan God was used. The word God, they won't use the word God for the Guardian of Earth because they want to make it coincide with the old dub, but they will use God for Super Saiyan God because there really is no other way to pronounce Super Saiyan God. Now, the reason why this may shock some people, I know some of you guys are like, but geekdom, they call this Super Saiyan God in the movies. Well, movies and television have two completely different standards and practices. So if somebody out there is asking like, oh, well, why wouldn't they call it God? Well, the networks sometimes want to heavily censor the series, which is what the old Dragon Ball Z dub suffered from. You couldn't say the word God. But because of its time slot and because Cartoon Network / Toonami / Adult Swim is a lot more chill than they used to be, now you can say God and it's not so bad. So Super Saiyan God is here to stay. But like I said before, like I've talked about before, after speaking to Chris Rager himself, the voice of Mr. Satan, there is a heavily censored version of Super that is not airing on Cartoon Network or Toonami, but they have that audio in the can just in case another contract comes about. Again, some people have been asking me, well, why would that happen? You have to understand television, and you have to trust me on this one, guys. I talked to a lot of people who used to work in the television industry, and if one day they want to expand Dragon Ball Super and one of the network cable companies offer them a deal, they might have to use that Super edited version. We're talking about years down the line because Cartoon Network is not giving up Super. I'm almost 100% sure there's exclusivity rights to Dragon Ball Super with Cartoon Network, so it ain't going nowhere, dude. I don't foresee Dragon Ball Super being on Nicktoons or Toonzai. I just don't see it. But you never know. You never know. Sabat, I guess, felt that it was smart to review I guess he felt it was smart to not review, but redo the voices for the censored. I guess he thought maybe just in case, and it is a smart move. It really is a smart move. Also, somebody on Twitter named Xantar pointed out that apparently Laura Bailey is still being listed as Trunks in the end credits of Super. That is a mistake. That's not correct because it is Alexis Tipton. They all did a very good job. And of course, during the episode, we also had Goku and King Kai talking, both of whom were voiced by Sean Schemmel. So he's pretty much talking to himself the entire time. I liked that part. I thought it was fine. I thought Schemmel has really gotten a lot better as Goku. I mean, if you watch Kai and you watch Resurrection F and Battle of Gods, you already know this. I mean, you already know. But overall, the dub was good. I did like this episode a lot more. I thought Sabat handled the octopus scene, and I'm going to leave a link to the episode 2 review I did a year ago, or 2 years ago now, for you guys. But the octopus scene where he gets ink put all over him, I thought Sabat did a really good job of portraying like angry Vegeta. I felt Horikawa's performance though was a little more like wacky angry Vegeta, like Sabat's was more like a rrr, but like Horikawa was more like a ugh. Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, all right? But if you watch, if you're out there and you watch the dub and the sub, you can compare the two and kind of see which one you like more. But Sabat is really good at being serious, badass Vegeta. Horikawa is good also at being the wacky Vegeta, and I feel like he's gotten that. There's a lot of wacky Vegeta in Super, you know what I mean? I'm very curious to see how Sabat is going to handle doing the scene where Bulma gets slapped in Super. I actually asked him about it a year ago when I interviewed him. 1 year ago, I interviewed Chris Sabat on this channel. I'm probably going to hopefully bring him back soon, and I'll actually link you guys to that interview here at the end of this video. I'll put a little annotation or whatever you want to call it. Like, I'll put a little, at the end card will let you watch that review or that interview with Sabat, because I thought it was a good interview. I liked it. We talked a lot about the Z versus Kai dub, and you'll learn a lot. You will learn a lot about the old dub. You'll learn a lot about the mistakes that were made and how they were corrected in Kai. Also, like I said last week, the sound engineering was great. The music was fine. The TV version, of course, had the shortened intro, but the 11:30 one seemed to have had the longer intro. I've been told that that's not going to be the case from now on. I don't know if that's true or not. Really, it bugged me at first. It doesn't really bug me too much anymore because I have the Japanese version on Crunchyroll. The Blu-rays will have the full version. We know this because the full version does exist of the intro and outro music. The TV versions did not have the eye catches, though, which is the commercial break bumpers. They were not there, but I'm sure they'll be on the home release. If you're out there waiting for the Blu-rays, again, I don't have an answer for you as far as when the Blu-rays are coming. I don't know. I'm guessing this year, but if I do find out, I will absolutely make a video about it, because there's been so many people who have been hitting me up asking me, where can I buy Super Blu-rays? Because in Japan, they're too expensive, bro. Funimations will be a lot cheaper. You know, in Japan, it's way too expensive. Anyways, folks, let me know your thoughts down below on this episode of Super. And also, later on today on Geekdom 101, I will be doing my preview for Dragon Ball Super Episode 75, Japan, of course. Goku training once again, I guess preparing for the Universe Survival arc. That's coming later tonight. So while you wait for that to post, check out these videos.